And so it begins. The Red Sox have made their first signing of the offseason, bringing in bullpen arm Justin Wilson, a lefty, to relieve. And I think this is going to be really important. We'll get right into that. Justin Wilson coming to the Red Sox. We're going to get to the source, but before we do, hello everyone, I'm Evan Sharrard. Welcome to Red Sox Digest. Just wanted to say, please make sure you subscribe to get all of your latest Red Sox news, rumors, and updates. Free agency is about to be in full swing. Juan Soto might be on the way. We'll find out. But I just wanted to mention that 85% of the viewers who are watching are not subscribed, so it helps out a lot, totally free. So if you could do that, that would be a great thank you from me. But now let's get right into the video. Let's talk about the source here, where we were seeing this, why we're even talking about this now. And so here it is. Robert Murray, an MLB insider, says that Justin Wilson has agreed to a contract with the Red Sox. So those are from his sources, insiders with the Red Sox. And with that being said, let's get right into my reaction here. And I'm excited. And the reason I am is because the Red Sox need help in the bullpen. I know the name Justin Wilson. I like Justin Wilson. We'll take a look at his stats in a second to show you why. But Justin Wilson's an older arm, and for those who have been around baseball, watching it, playing it, etc., in the major leagues now, bullpens are built many ways. And two of the better ways are you go get 2 or 3 top arms, you pay them a bunch of money, and you're hoping that they're going to be really good for the rest of their career and you'll have them. Or you pick and choose and put together a patchwork bullpen each year based on maybe prospects that you have that are like, okay, this guy throws 102, let's bring him up. And then he throws really hard, he works well for the season, and then maybe guys figure him out and he's got to go back down or figure something else out to sustain big league success. But also bringing in different players. The Rays have been masterful at this, creating random pitchers into elite relievers for a couple years, and then they'll go somewhere else and it won't work as well. But I really liked what we saw from the Red Sox pitching staff from the beginning of last year, and I love bringing in Justin Wilson because, one, lefty arms are a commodity. Lefties in baseball in general have higher value than righties because less people are left-handed, and people pitch both ways. You need to be able to beat out either their best lefty or their best righty with your best lefty or your best righty. So Justin Wilson provides that. My only concern here is going to be his health, which we'll touch on, but Justin Wilson's been a veteran pitcher. He's been in the playoffs, played many games, and he's a pretty good pitcher to have on your team just because he's been pretty consistent throughout his career. But with that being said, why don't we look at his stats, kind of break down the good, the bad, and the concerns and the pros to him. So here's that tweet again, but let's get into his baseball savant first. And so these are all percentile rankings. And he's got one really good one, which is the chase rate. This is from this past season that he played, 2023, 2024, or sorry, just 2024. That's how baseball works. And you can see not a lot of numbers here that really jump off the page to you besides that chase rate. Now, with that chase rate, his K rate and whiff rate aren't spectacular by any means. One's below and one's just above average. The walk rate, I really like. The barrel rate, I don't like that at all. The extension, fine. I mean, the extension only matters if you're throwing significantly harder. The extension will make your pitch look a lot harder than it is. So for him, that kind of stinks because he is throwing 95.5 miles per hour, but if his extension was better, maybe that would look like 98, 99. So his expected ERA and expected batting average are both pretty low. And what those things mean is these are stats that are calculated based on the expected results. So this takes out really obvious, easy errors that shouldn't be happening, or crazy plays where maybe a ball takes a bounce off a bag, and that's usually going to be an out and something crazy happens. So that's what those stats mean, meaning that this guy is below average last season overall is what I would pretty much come to a conclusion of, besides the K rate just above, the walk rate pretty good, the chase rate really good, the velocity good. And one of the reasons I actually like seeing these numbers is none of these stats really tell me that he can't turn it around. When I see someone who has high velocity, you have a good chase rate, that means that, one, you throw hard, which is really important because Sometimes all you need to do is throw it hard and near the strike zone, and guys will swing and miss. It's hard to hit speed. However, because he can throw that speed, that means that if he works on how he's pitching rather than how hard he's throwing, he's going to be harder to hit. And I think working with pitching coach Andrew Bailey could do wonders for him, especially how the Red Sox pitching staff really turned it around in the first half. So we'll see what he can do with Justin Wilson, who is a low-cost, high-reward kind of player, and someone who, if it doesn't work out, heck, I just wasted 10 minutes of my life talking about him, but nothing more than that. And he's a really good player to bring in as a veteran, I think, especially for the contract they gave him. So the barrel rate, you need to see that improve, especially with the walk rate being so good. That, to me, doesn't necessarily mean that his location is bad. It might just mean that he's just pounding the zone, and that means that hitters are getting pitches to see that are hittable, and they're barreling them up. So enough on the baseball savant there. I'm going to touch on one more baseball savant stat of his, which is his last qualified season, because the two prior, he didn't qualify, meaning that he didn't pitch enough because he was injured. And that is the big issue that we're going to talk about with Justin Wilson. I guess the risk in a short-term, low-cost deal. So these stats are exceptional, really all of them, except for the walk rate and the whiff rate, which is sort of the exact opposite of what we saw from his prior stats. So again, he's expected to be one of the better pitchers in baseball for average and runs allowed. The exit velocity is really, really good, his best number here, and that is exciting because he's keeping the ball inside the ballpark. And then his hard hit rate really low as well, so further proof he's keeping the ball in the ballpark. It does kind of seem like he's this strange pitcher this season where he's not striking a ton of guys out above average, not getting a lot of whiffs, and he's walking a lot of players, which is strange for someone who, based on what I'm seeing here, comes off as a pitch-to-contact pitcher who's keeping the ball in the yard. So some strange numbers there, and then the extension still the same, not great. Velocity a little bit lower by 0.6 miles per hour, so take that how you will. But that's enough here. Let's talk about his baseball reference numbers. Want to bring these up in the big screen so you can get a better visualization of his career. He's pitched forever, started with Pittsburgh, didn't play too much anywhere for too long, but he's been with Cincinnati, Pittsburgh, New York, the Yankees, the Cubs, and the Tigers, and also the Mets, now with the Red Sox. So I love to look at ERA plus because that is a good measure to see, okay, how did he stack up to the rest of the league? A 100 is average, and then you can go on from there. So he's had a lot of seasons where he's been really strong and above average. There's that one in 2021, he pitched 21 games, and then again, he just didn't really do much more for New York. However, he pitched 21 games for Cincinnati, and he was exceptional. Now, that brought his ERA plus down to 86 for the year, so a little bit below average, but his time in Cincinnati was incredible while his time with the Yankees was awful. So then he pitches for the Cincinnati Reds again the next year in 2022, gets injured. He's out fully in 2022 after that, and in 2023. This past year, he played 60 games and had a 5.59 ERA, which is just high. That's just bad. And he wasn't walking guys per se, but he was giving up harder contact, which is a concern. Now, if you're the Red Sox, you're probably thinking, you're looking back at his resume and going, all right, this is a low-risk, high-reward kind of player. We don't have to pay him that much, and if he doesn't work out, he can move out on his way. But really, based on his full resume that we're looking at here, Justin Wilson's a great player to take a chance on, especially in your bullpen. You're not having to break the bank to bring him in. You have a really high potential upside, especially with what he did just 3 years ago, and what he did, well, what will be 3 years ago, 2 years ago as of right now recording this video. He is 37, but he's going to be a good presence to have in that bullpen because of all the experience he's had, especially with a bullpen with some guys like Greg Weissert and Justin Slayton, who really performed really well at the beginning of the year, but then kind of tapered off, and these guys haven't had as much major league experience. Last year was both of their first seasons really being in the big leagues, and Weissert eventually struggled. Slayton a little bit less so, but still, it's good to have a veteran arm who can come in there and teach these guys some things and just sort of mentor them. If he's nothing more than that, that's a great presence to have on the team. So those are my general thoughts on not Justin Slayton, on Justin Wilson. I'm sorry we brought that up again. But I think it's exciting. I'm excited for the rest of the Red Sox offseason. I'm really interested to see whether the Red Sox are going to go after a starting pitcher, especially if they do sign Juan Soto, which would be absolutely huge, and you'll be hearing from me as soon as that deal goes through, whether he goes to the Red Sox or not, because we're going to have to talk about why he chose what he chose. It's huge baseball news, and that's what this whole offseason is about. Baseball season never ends. It's just that they stop playing games sometimes. So we're in the season of free agency, which is the time for a team that didn't just make the playoffs to really show what are we going to try and do next year. So thank you all for joining me. I'm Evan Sharrard. Hope you enjoyed the video on Justin Wilson. So long, and see you next time.